When it rains, it pours. Sometimes in the summer rush of gardens and good weather, we forget the home. We've spent days outside in the sun, playing, planting, building, and harvesting. And now inside, everything has fallen apart. But today we are pressing the reset button. And we are asking ourselves the question, are we watering weeds or flowers? So I have a bowl here full of chores. The kids are choosing a couple chores each. And we are going to rally together. We're going to build this house back up together, one room at a time. We're going to turn on some good, positive vibes, music, and we're going to do the best we can. The truth is, we're not really aiming for perfection here. We're aiming for peace in our home. So I hope you will join me here today as we press that reset button. We're restoring home, family, and spirit, and I'm so glad you're here. Who's a good girl? All clean and washed. You want to have a treat? Do you want a treat? So I haven't actually introduced you to our dog, Nia. Her name is Nia, like vainilla, the Spanish word, vanilla. But we call her Nia for short, and we've had her for 3 years, and she is a vital part of our family here, especially on the property. And she has an important job, and that is to protect the chickens and warn us when there's predators. She's a great dog. She's also a very picky dog, and she's not a huge fan of food until I tried out this new food brand called Maeve. What's amazing about Maeve is it's actually human grade, real food. She can't wait for me to pour this in her bowl. Some of the things that are in this food is beef, potato, green beans, zucchini, blueberries, beef liver, peanut butter, flaxseed oil. There's different supplements and minerals in there, and you can actually identify the real food just by looking at it while you're pouring it in. So I've noticed that she's had a lot more energy. She's crazy about her food, and I don't blame her. Everyone loves real food. And so if you guys are interested in trying it for your dogs, go ahead and follow the link that's here on the screen. You can also use this QR code and enter the code PIONEER to get 20% off of your first order from Maeve. So thanks so much, Maeve, for sponsoring today's video, and we are absolutely loving our real human grade dog food. Yesterday, we started the day out with such gusto. We tackled some chores, we cut the dog's hair. That was pretty exhausting because the cutters just weren't working. And I actually did have to cut my dog's hair with scissors. So that took up a big chunk of time. And then we ended up resting. And I actually ended up taking a nap, which was much needed. And it's always a reminder to me that I have to be so patient with the timing and just the pace that real life actually takes. We all have messes, we all have families, and we have to be patient with the reality of our situation. We also are seasonal beings. I love to talk about living with the seasons and eating with the seasons. Life in the wintertime
and chores and responsibilities look so different than life here in the summertime. We spend so much more time indoors and working on projects indoors. And then that garden starts to grow, the grass starts to grow, and things start to get cooking outside. And here in Missouri, things grow fast. The property takes a lot of effort to keep up on. We're also dealing with weather and rainy days and sunny days, heat, and whatever it may be. And so I find myself about this time every single year really needing to press that reset button to try to refigure out how I'm going to accomplish all of the chores in the home as well as all the responsibilities there is outside of the home. And so we're also out of school, and so there's a lot more of that lackadaisical, spontaneous free time and a lot more time to play and go swim and do things with friends. So it's really about figuring out how to balance all the things and how to bring the family in together so that we are working as a team to get all those things done. I've actually created some chore charts. I call them. They're morning chores that the kids do every morning. And it includes things like brushing their teeth, making their bed, tidying their room, as well as practicing the piano and reading. And there is a rotating chore routine on there that the kids rotate through. So they do have responsibilities that they do every single day throughout the summer to keep up on things. But it's good to just revisit those responsibilities as a family each season that we come upon to say, okay, things are constantly changing, and what do we need to do to make sure that these necessities like laundry and getting dinner on the table and even just mopping that kitchen floor, which always seems to be messy in the summertime, how can we get all these things done? I just love my humble little farm kitchen. It is quite humble, and this floor definitely needs a couple of fresh coats of paint, which I hope to get to this summer. But what I can do is give it a good cleaning, which it definitely needs. When the kitchen is clean, the counters are clean, the floor is walkable, you can walk on it without crunching things underneath your feet, I feel so refreshed and so energized and ready to make something delicious in the kitchen. When the kitchen isn't clean, I don't bake as much. And everyone loves it when Mama's baking in the kitchen, especially having fresh bread on hand. And so when the kitchen is clean, that means that there's bread being baked. So the floors have been swept and mopped and the kitchen rugs have been washed. I'm just pulling out some baby back ribs that we've had thawed out. We're gonna roast up some barbecue ribs. That'll be really nice to have something for dinner that's just hands off. It's gonna go in the oven at 250 degrees for about 3 hours, slow and steady. So that will be cooking, and we've got our bread going. I always say bread really is life. When you have kids in the home, when you have bread on hand, then things can be turning. You can make sandwiches, you can have French toast in the morning, or toast with jam. Or for the kids, it's just a mandatory snack all the time. So having bread in the home is always so important. And since I've fallen so behind on my routine of things, I didn't have any sourdough starter that was fed and ready to go. So today we're actually just making a regular yeasted whole wheat sandwich loaf. Although I have to say that my family strongly prefers the sourdough, and I do too, especially in a sandwich loaf. Sourdough does hold together, has a bit more moisture, and makes a good sandwich bread. So now I'm going to go around and do some finishing touches. I like to call it the mom touch. And although the kids have done their chores and cleaned these spaces, I like to go around and just beautify the space, make them feel a little bit warm and cozy, and kind of just give it that woman's touch. There's nothing quite like the smell of baking bread while the house is being put back together. A clean kitchen isn't just about appearance, it invites us to nourish, to gather, to serve with joy. And for me, it just nourishes that creativity. Sometimes we are watering the weeds and we don't even realize it. Our homes are like a garden. They're like a beautiful flower or vegetable garden. They can be enjoyed. They bring us nourishment and peace and joy to our family when we do the simple and small things every day. But when we neglect those simple and small things on a daily basis, then we let those weeds grow up, and those weeds flourish in neglect. And I'm not saying that I don't have weeds in my garden, because I do. And I'm not saying that my home is perfect, because it's obviously not. But this seems to be a simple truth. After the rain, the world feels brand new. Fresh, balanced. That's how it feels when the home is cared for too. And we didn't clean to impress anyone. We did it to make space for, well, living, enjoying, creating, and being together. And dinner tastes different when it's made in a clean kitchen. When the counters are clear and the floor is swept and the air smells like bread and basil. It's not about fancy meals, it's about just having some peace and enjoying a meal after a hard day's work together as a family. So for dinner, we are making a fresh salad with peaches and onions from the garden. We're throwing in some basil. Basil is my absolutely favorite herb from the garden, and I like to grow lots of it, and it grows better when it's picked often. So we're having a beautiful peach salad. I'm going to make a nice vinaigrette to go on top. I love cooking in summer because it can feel so simple when you're pulling fresh vegetables and fruits out of the garden and pairing them with a simple meat or protein. I often am barbecuing, and like I said today, I threw in some ribs in the oven. They've been slow cooking for the past few hours, and I was so excited when I pulled my beets out of the garden today. Beets are one of my favorite vegetables, and I usually love to make lots of pickled beets. So tonight I'm just steaming up some beets and also the greens to go with them because they're so good for us. I like to drizzle some balsamic vinegar and salt and pepper on those. And it feels so good to settle down as a family and enjoy the fruits of our labor. And I hope that this video gave you some encouragement to keep moving forward. I will be seeing you all again next week for another video on restoring home, family, and spirit. Love you lots.